Hello viewers, I'm SB and welcome back to Endless Space 2 Awakening, where the game has not gone exactly the way we thought it was going to go, but the secrets of the Endless are now open to us, or they're getting to open to us. And I think it's going to be pretty hard for anybody to come back against us. Even if somebody wanted to invade, our empire is built in kind of a weird shape where a lot of the core worlds are actually pretty hard to access, and we could suddenly put together a pretty significant defense if we had to. Also, the people who are actually close to us are not super inclined to combat in the first place, and certainly aren't super inclined to fight us. So, I think we're going to be okay, basically. Now, it's worth noting that you cannot buy out the Endless Text with influence. You do actually have to research these. So for a little while, we can just bank influence and figure out some other stuff to do with it. Probably what we'll do is we'll just accumulate a big bank of influence and then use it to buy out techs on the way up to the next Endless thing. Because right now we're going for Genius the Endless. I think it's pretty much a no-brainer that this is the first one you want to get. And then, since we're already up at the top of this quadrant, it makes a lot of sense to go for Wealth of the Endless next, and that also is just like flat 15% extra science, which obviously is great. And then we'll worry about the other stuff when we gotta worry about the other stuff. We're already like a quarter of the way done with the military quadrant, despite having literally never spent a single point of science, thanks to all of our technology theft, and we're gonna keep developing it, I believe, over the course of the Genius of the Endless research time. We also need to check in with the Sophons and see how our influence pressure is doing against them. It might be worth negotiating for peace with their alliance just to get a little bit more approval on our systems. Where am I being attacked? Oh, pirates got a hold of one of the scout ships. Well, that's bad news. That guy's probably dead. It looks like he doesn't have enough health to retreat safely. Alright, well, go down swinging, buddy. You know, sure, he's dead, but also he can cause some spite and pain in the universe of his own on the way out, and really, isn't that what we're all truly hoping for? Say no. The answer, you're supposed to you're supposed to say no to that. I'll just give you a little help there. Boy, what do I want to do with you? You don't really have anything super valuable to take. Honestly, we're going to finish the game before our heroes have time to develop up to their top tier stuff anyway, it looks like. Apparently you feel like you're finished exploring? No, there's a thing right there. There's a node. There's a functional star lane coming out of the system that he's in now. I wonder if you get false "I finished exploring" prompts when your explorers run into a defended system because they run out of movement points, and then they're like, "Oh well, I can't move. I must be done." I can't imagine any other reason that would work like that. Okay, so here we could build distributed energy. Get plus 10% science here, which would be totally fine. But honestly, I'm wondering if it's best to just have the system go into urgent AI research mode. We could build a fabrication license, I suppose, and then go into urgent AI research mode. This ends up being plus 10%, plus 4, and then half of that converts into science. That might actually be better total science output than the distributed energy, frankly. Well, this is giving us 10% industry and 10% science, though it's just we're never going to finish building it, is my concern. There's not all that much game left. I think we'll put this in the queue and then go into research mode. Oh, we should definitely specialize this planet. And in fact, all these planets should get re-specialized to science. We are definitely no longer in ramp-up mode. We are in full-on engage engines mode. We could also terraform this a little bit, and we probably should. More room to grow, more science per citizen. Actually, you know what? Let's finish the fabrication license before we go for the terraform. Yeah, I think that makes sense. So it'll speed the terraform process up considerably. So you have orders. What's the political survey look like? Oh, it looks like the Scientist Party is going to take over the government. That's actually not great for us. We really want the industrialists to remain in charge because we have some very good industrialist laws that we're sitting on. I don't know that there's really a way to fix that at this point, though. 2 turns before an election in a government type that doesn't allow for for forceful cheating. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna be able to do anything about it. That said, the law that you get for having the Scientist Party leading your government, the Forced Scientist Law, is actually totally relevant to our goal. And a government made of scientist, ecologist, pacifist is fine, I guess? I'm really gonna miss the huge amount of industry we're getting out of the Industrialist Law. But I guess it's less harmful for us to lose it at this point than it would have been earlier. Yeah, alright. It's not gonna be the end of the world. I'm not overjoyed about it, but it's not gonna be the end of the world. Oh, I should, what is the population boosting resource for the Mizari? It is, we need a lot of mushrooms to boost that population. Okay, hold on a second. Let's check in on these guys. Are we at advanced diplomatic demand? Oh, we totally are. Okay, you need to give me some economic tribute. 1,500 science per turn. That is lovely. And then, do you guys have any of these mushrooms? 13. You have 13 blue cap mold. That's not really what I want. The free resource term really does only allow us to take resources. We can't get tech with it. So I think I'm just going to take all of their orichalcics off their hands. Against a diplomatic affair. Functionally, this is a very similar deal to last time. It's actually slightly better for us, but it's a degree of difference, not kind. Or a degree of magnitude, not kind. And they still really can't afford to refuse it.
Your actions and words do not...
Okay, these guys love us. That's great. Yeah, they didn't actually have a choice. The Riftborn attacked our scout. Yeah, you know what? You get to die running. Just for the sake of variety. Well, our scouts have been obliterated, and I don't feel great about it. It looks like Hadrilenko is going to continue governing, since he's not going to become emperor and all. So we may as well just start taking governor stuff on him on his new in his new tier. If we're going to build a 10% science thing, obviously this is slightly better, but it's also 3 times as much industry. Very non-trivial. Does terraforming here make sense? Yeah, we could really gain a lot of science output. Terraforming a savanna world is not super helpful. We might be able to go from monsoon to something colder, which would help. I don't remember the terraforming chart, unfortunately. Here we can go to a savanna. Here, I mean, anything's got to be better, right? But I guess, are we done building stuff? Because I'm terraforming away a fair amount of industry at this point. You know what? Get me a fabrication license, followed by battlefield archaeology, and then once we do these terraforms, we're probably going to fall into urgent AI research. I just can't see us building too many distributed energy facilities, because they're too expensive. We're getting to a point in the game where it doesn't make a lot of sense for us to do super long-term plays like that anymore. Because there's not enough term left. I also think we can probably redirect these toward greater science output. And then we have no terraforming ability here. I mean, that's good. That's always good. Do that thing.
What is your objective?
You know what? I will accept. Wait a minute. Maybe I'll accept. So this is the current breakdown of the Senate, not the projected breakdown. I'm wondering if refusing here might allow us to give us a chance at least of keeping the industrialists in the Senate in the place of the pacifists. But actually, we really want the pacifists in too, because we're making a lot of use of that law that brings up your approval. Yeah, fine. I accept. I will not fly my ships in your space anymore. Okay, let's go look at the market. We need just a whole lot of blue cap mold. Was it 101? Yeah, we should really boost the population. Probably should have been boosting the population the whole time, but there's just a lot of things to focus on. It's a big, complicated game with a lot of tiny moving parts, and optimal play would probably require me not to be speaking into a microphone all the time. It's hard to be careful and audible at the same time, which is maybe like a good lesson for life in general. Alright, well, fly back over to Gistra. This poor ship has been teleported back to Trader's Reach. Again. That must be very frustrating. Alright, how are we doing on overall approval? Seems like falling. I mean, we're still producing population onto planets that are not very friendly. So you know what? We could use a little boost. Can we negotiate peace with this alliance? And the Sophons are probably not huge fans of us. If we go to peace with them, it's going to have the amount of pressure we're building up on them. But at this point, I think it might be worthwhile. Let's try to negotiate peace with these guys, because I really can't imagine the Sophons like us very much after all of those demands that we've leveled. Ooh, wow, these guys also don't.
Checking up on us again, eh?
Can we potentially... Oof. Well, there's a suggestion. Jesus. I don't know if this is worth it. This is a lot of stuff here. Yeah, probably not. So what would it do? It would drag some of our systems. Some of our systems would go up a tier, but not the biggest and most important ones. And also the Empire's already at the top tier. I don't know. I guess if our Empire-wide approval level falls, then we'll start taking it more seriously. We'll worry about it a little bit then. And then we still have 4.6k dust with which to do I know not what. Let's go ahead and pull these. We're definitely going to need to be able to settle in those. And then honestly, like, eco-habitats are fantastic here. A fabrication license would be super helpful. The system isn't actually low industry, but think about how much higher industry it could be. Frankly, yeah, with so much stuff left to build, I'm going to put my influence into this. I think that's going to have a huge effect. Alright, so let's get all of the basic stuff here built. We'll throw all that in the queue, and then when all that's done, we'll go F-Reality Institute. Yeah, that should be good. NOS is going to develop into a real science powerhouse, and we need to give it the tools to continue doing that. Speaking of tools and growth, that didn't sound the way I meant it to sound. How are the amoebas doing? Not that I'm saying that entire species is a bunch of tools or anything. Oh, we actually almost have 50 of them. I mean, I guess if you get a plus food species going, they're just gonna reproduce. Well, I guess we're gonna see what their law is. Maybe it'll be really cool. How are we doing on resources here? 24 plus 3.5 per turn. I'm wondering if we should just buy up another population booster for them. I think I want to. Because we definitely have some places where we need to maintain growth. And at this point we get to see their law. I really do wish that there was... I wish there was more information about this game in this game. This game is huge and incredibly complicated, and there's so many little systems going on all of the time. It just really sucks that so much of the stuff that's going on in it, you just have to know somehow what's happening. Oh, we don't even have microwave pipes here? What? That's terrible. Well, that's got to be a high priority. That's a thing we might pump some resources into. You can't just not have microwave pumps. Pumps? Pipes? Whatever. You can't just not have microwave thingies. Okay, so we're going to throw our official support behind the Industrialist Party, but they're surveying pretty low. At this point, it's sort of too late for us to want to change horses, you know? We are, like, deep in the stream. Yeah, the Industrialists are falling behind. Well, it's a very peaceful government. So, Oracle of Science is interesting. It lets you skip the stage of technology you should be working on in each tier, and research stuff in the next tier, which is going to allow us to cheat forward a little bit, which is cool. But it also means we lose access to our huge amount of bonus industry law. And I'm not really sure how we're going to deal with that. I mean, how we're going to deal with it is we're just going to keep doing the same thing we were doing before, but slower. But obviously that's not that's not what you want to be happening. Alright, give me more science. Always more science. Do it, science bot. So let's go examine the new tools of this government. We have access to the Green Fertility Bill, which is, like, absolutely we're going to put on because it provides science, and we don't have a lot of options that directly provide science. Also, it's quite cheap. We need to keep Make Love Not War up. We want to keep Brains Over Bucks up. That's just, like, a huge amount of science. So I guess this is the new set of laws. We lost some industry, but we gained some industry. It's a lot less, but we also gained some other stuff. It's fine. And now we're running a significantly cheaper set of laws. So we'll have more influence buildup and more buyouts. You know, it's a mixed blessing, sort of a double-edged sword. Which is kind of a dumb thing to say, because everything's a double-edged sword, even single-edged swords. You know, on the one side it cuts real well, but then on the other side, you know, that's a stolen bit, and I feel bad because I don't remember who I stole it from. Alright, so we don't need to make any other changes, though, right? I think things are pretty solid here. Once we finish Genius of the Endless, the fact that the scientists now run the government is going to have some implications for our future research strategies. That's a thing to keep in mind. But for right now, it doesn't really change anything. This terrifying fellow gets to add another 30 science to the Empire. You can never have enough.
We Oregons are always ready to celebrate friendship.
Okay, let's continue having a science agreement, she says. I agree with you. I'm right there with you on this. Battlefield archaeology would be a pretty slow grab. We should probably start terraforming to more scientific planet types. Listen, you can't just do science on an arid world. That doesn't even make any sense. Yeah, Mediterranean to jungle, absolutely. My favorite Tim Allen movie. And yeah, more population. Just room for more folks. In fact, let's make that a higher priority because that seems to be a pretty cheap one. So we are definitely... The next amoeba born is the 50th one. To be perfectly honest with you, I think we got a lot of value out of getting a hold of some amoeba early. That was just like a random curiosity that we found was a point of amoeba population, right? I think that's had a remarkably huge effect on our game. Ooh, I think Cert might be about to push through the rejuvenation field. We might get to steal a thing. Alright, Ting, you have the opportunity to get us more influence, so obviously, get us more influence goes without saying, really. I feel like it should have anyway. I shouldn't have to tell you this. Ting, come on, man, pay attention. You can grab some approval. I don't even know if your planet needs, or if your system needs it. And now we have the ability to steal some tech. So let's talk about our future plans. We're about to finish Genius of the Endless. So you can see here, we don't necessarily have to research anything from Tier 1 of the military tree. Which means that, honestly, what we should probably do here is stick one of these in the queue, purchase this quickly with science, and then that allows us to open up Tier 5 pretty soon. So we can research 2 more things in Tier 4, or steal 2 more things in Tier 4 to have Tier 5 on the table immediately. The ability to skip a tier will not let us get the endless techs. So, like, if we research 3 more things in Tier 4 to unlock Tier 5, that will not allow us to skip the Tier 5 researches and grab this. We have to do Tier 5 no matter what. So, actually, what we would like to do here is steal 2 Tier 3 military technologies from our competitors to open up this next thing. That did increase the amount of time. So there's a modifier on every technology's cost based on the number of technologies you already have. Each tech makes all future techs more expensive. So by gaining another technology, we actually added just enough cost to Genius of the Endless to push it up another turn, which is not ideal, but I suppose would have happened when I stole techs either way. So we're looking for Hyperion Magnetics, Advanced Fusion Power, Survival Suits, Improved Fleet Management. Alright, we probably have access to some of this stuff. Hardened alloys is one of them, right? Okay, yes it is. What about you? Do you have some other stuff? High energy magnetics? No, that's down here. Unstable isotope mining. Okay, so we take advanced fusion power from you. And then we take hardened alloys from you. And that unlocks tier 5. Knowing tier 1 lets us skip tier 2. No, knowing tier 2 would have let us skip that, but doing that lets us skip tier 4 instead. And then we just need to hard research the old-fashioned way a bunch of stuff from tier 5, which we can absolutely do.
Horatio's plans for this galaxy do not include...
I am definitely, without question, not accepting any alliances at this time. Thing is, I'm very busy. Very, very busy. Don't have time for friends. You know, you gotta manage social relationships. It takes time and effort. For some people, more effort than others. So, sorry, Horatio. Listen, he'll be fine. He's got his reflection, which he loves very much. We're just gonna keep boosting tech here. No hacking operation passes through this node. Well, that's not correct. Listen, we don't have the best hacking computers in the galaxy. I'll just tell you that right now. See, that one works. Well, you're getting piggybacked now, because I don't have the bandwidth to do it anywhere else. Yeah, that's a little unfortunate, because obviously, like, Genius of the Endless is a pretty damn big deal. There's not anything we're going to be able to do about it, probably, either. We do have one more science law that we could have equipped right now. The Cram Exam Act. But at this point, this is enough disapproval that it would drop us an approval tier, and that would negate a lot of the benefit. Actually, probably more than all of the benefit of falling down, because our total science output is so high. Like, losing 15% science by dropping back to happy would be a nightmare. 22,000 science per turn. Percentage bonuses at this point in the game are a pretty damn big deal. Okay, let's see what the amoeba law is. I can't imagine we don't have an amoeba being born this turn. We also have this. The remnants you once welcomed as refugees are now thriving members of your empire. And then we have some stuff I don't care about. Yeah, none of this matters.
Your actions threaten.
I don't have time to help you with your war. So let's go look at our laws. The amoebas have added the Thick Skins Bill. Minus 50% diplomatic pressure. Oh. That's a pretty bad law. I mean, there are definitely situations where this would be good if you're an empire that doesn't particularly need to produce a lot of influence, so you're, not producing a lot of influence, and you're suffering pushback from other empires. I could see this being kind of useful, but that's a pretty narrow case. And even there, it very well might not be worth the slot. For an empire that is producing a lot of influence like us, this law has no benefit whatsoever. I like that there are a bunch of like little narrow laws like that. I think that's really cool. But it would be even cooler if you could tell what a minor factions law was before unlocking it, like if there was a tooltip or something, so that you would know ahead of time whether it was worth putting them all the way up to 50. Because as it is, in order to like plan a strategy around a law like that, you definitely have to step out and grab a guide off the internet or something. I'm a big fan of being able to make good decisions in a game without having to go to the internet. Yeah, we should get a fabrication license, and really, like, in an ideal output of science over infinity sense, this is the right way to build this. Or output of resources over infinity. It's correct to build the F-Reality Institute last. But honestly, given the amount of time that is left in the game, and I guess we'll have a little bit better idea after Genius of the Endless is finished, I wonder if just like pushing the science, maybe forgetting about these, or like building this one because it takes no time at all, and then just going into AI research is the better thing to do there. And I think it's going to end up being the better thing to do in a lot of cases. We're gonna want to start transitioning systems over to that pretty soon. A lot of them are getting close to finishing important science things. This might be the next thing to spend influence on, and then we transition that system to science output. And listen, we are not at the cap of the things that we can do here, but at some point you hit that inflection point where it no longer makes sense to build up a system's capability instead of just using the system's capability. Alright, we did it. Our first endless tech is earned. So now we have 23,000 science output, and all technologies are considerably cheaper. And we need to grab some techs up here, so it's kind of just whatever. I don't think we're going to find a lot of stuff that's actually useful. We just need to unlock this thing. So let's grab also programmable quadronics in case we got in a big war. I suppose maybe the smart thing to do here would have been to finish instead of using tier 3 to skip tier 4 to research tier 5, maybe it would have been better to skip tier 3, research 4 to open 5, because on 4 we could have picked up some more behemoth tech, which would have been enough to let us build another behemoth, I think. And those are pretty valuable. Ah well, at this point we're pretty committed to the plan. We are definitely not going to be using influence to output to buy tech anymore, because the tech is just getting too damn expensive for that to work. And we're producing 25,000 influence worth of science every single turn. So, yeah, we're just buying out constructions at this point. And next turn we should be able to hit this? Oh yeah, next turn will be more than comfortable. Gonna be a lot of just hit and end turn here. Okay, Pictor is about to fall underneath our influence. As soon as we have a system covered by one of their systems covered by our influence bubble, even putting aside the possibility of peaceful conversion, the amount of diplomatic pressure that we're putting out on them will ratchet up dramatically. You just need to grab another something. Okay, there we go. Next skill point, he gets to take a pretty valuable thing. Veni has been compromised. Oh no. That is not ideal. Fortunately, Veni's pretty happy. Aww. It drops down to a lower tier if we do this. Well, you know what? Luxuries Lottery will put it back up to ecstatic. And you know what? I don't actually care. Never mind. I don't care if there are sleepers here. That doesn't matter. I don't know why I'm defending myself against irrelevant attacks. I can say with some confidence that I do not give a shit about that. If they got enough, in theory, they'd be able to, you know, hinder our resource outputs, but not to a degree that I care about. Okay, and here I think we're just going to go straight into AI research. We could try to build a battlefield archaeology thing, but it's expensive to build, and it wouldn't be that much extra science. Let's just convert industry to science right here. At Trader's Reach, we don't really have a lot else of value to build. A fabrication license would be okay, but it's going to take so long to research that it's probably not worth the effort. Let's convert into make stuff happen mode here. Alright, so we'll get that done. AI labor is not awesome. We're not going to be able to terraform the cold worlds into more science. Yeah, so I think we can do this way. Again, battlefield archaeology, it's just like a lot of build time or a lot of influence to get it done. And we may still buy it out with influence, but we'll do it later once we actually have the influence in hand. So what about over here? That's too expensive to buy out with either resource. Unfortunately, it's just like a whole hell of a lot of money to rush anything with dust. You know, galactic inflation and stuff, it gets to be a pretty big deal. Definitely want this as well, and that's a higher priority than punctuated evolution. Okay. We do still have some availability of system upgrades, and in fact, we could go for some level 4 modernization, which we probably should, but it's just like it's very difficult to put together the resources. I'm not going to bother. I think the total impact that it would have would be low enough. And you can see, like, the trade companies are doing valuable stuff. They're keeping us solvent. We would actually be negative, and we would have been negative for a long time without our trade companies. But they're still, even at, like, 2-digit levels, not really outputting enough science for it to matter very much. And you can definitely pursue a more science-y, trade route-y strategy. You can get more science out of them, right? We have seen that. But I would have had to put more effort into developing them, more effort into acquiring a better size and shape of empire to allow our trade routes to really run. I just don't think it's worth worrying about, frankly. Okay, he's about to start picking up that really, really good stuff down on Nusakan. Scales Galena on Gistrad can also gain us more science. We're still gaining a lot of science per turn. Our production capacity is rising rapidly. We're at 26k now. 3 turns until we have access to Wealth of the Endless. Where are those hacks? Hacks are also 3 turns? Okay. So those hacks will start moving us up the left quadrant of the tree, potentially. Actually, I don't know that we've seen that. I don't know that we've seen a lot of technologies from that quadrant on our enemies here. It might be time to stop stealing technology, because at this point, stealing technologies that are irrelevant is actually just going to slow down our progress on account of making our techs more expensive. So we're at 5.1. 5.1's enough to buy something out. That's probably the right thing to do. Just rush this down. It's like this system has a very significant actual hard science output. These percentage boosters are way more valuable here than they are anywhere else. And the academy's doing stuff or whatever. Okay, somebody caught the photo bomber. That's really not super relevant to our game. The photobomber quest is way, way more relevant to the empires that are getting things done via war than it is to us. The Pirate League has been eliminated. Yeah, couldn't have happened to a nicer bunch of scumbags. 113 blue cat mold is an amount that we can acquire. 7.1k is not a problem. Definitely want to keep our population boosted. I mean, I know it's only 113 science per turn, but we actually don't, like, there's not a lot of other ways that we could be using that dust to generate that amount of science. We just don't have a lot of tools left to us. Okay, we can't colonize it, or we can't terraform the ice worlds colder. We can specialize them, though. They should definitely all be specialized. And then we can certainly terraform the lava planet. Something a little bit more compelling. And in fact, just make that happen. And then AI labor is going to be pretty bad here once that's done. Fabrication license would take a while to build. Honestly, maybe we just go straight into research on this this system as well. Veni needs to finish this, and then we have a single sterile system, so this is +1 population. And if we terraform this, are we making it non-sterile? Yeah, we totally are. So we'll just do that instead. Why build a building that's not going to do anything? Okay. Wasn't programmable quadranix supposed to be only 1 turn? When did it go up to 2? Well, whatever. We'll finish it in 1 turn. Nearly finished is the same as finished for our purposes. The amoeba boost is ended, and I think we can probably leave it. Hold on, we'll worry about Murgashi in a moment. Okay, this is the pirates. I'm not worried about the pirate quest. Somebody is going to get to recruit the Pirate King. It's not going to be us, and we don't care. Why can I not click this? There we go. Okay, so as you can see, this is coming down in half the time of the previous Endless Tech, despite the fact that it's a considerably more expensive technology for us, just because that's the way the game works. That's the way rising technology costs work. So... do you guys have anything that's relevant to me here? You have a lot of military tech, like a lot of military tech. But no, they don't have anything from the left quadrant that we don't have, except for landscaping. So instead, we're going to make one of their points of population a sleeper, or I don't really, like... there's not a lot else that we can do that will matter here. Yeah, I'll just sleeper one of their population, I guess. That's pretty, it's a pretty tough one to benefit from. Okay, we definitely need punctuated evolution. We also definitely want to do some more terraforming here. Probably that goes first, right? So that we can be getting the benefit of food generation while also building more science stuff. And then you guys can also go into this. Estrad still has some stuff building. We can keep buying stuff out over the next couple of turns there. So, after we finish Wealth of the Endless, we want to research 2 more things in tier 3 so that we can skip 4 to go to 5. I think that's the most efficient way to do this. And those 2 things are going to be Hyperpacks and Interspecies HR, I guess. Those will get done the same turn as the Endless Tech. And then once we clear out this quadrant, it's just a matter of researching the 2 Endless Techs that we have left. Oh, we should absolutely keep hacking. Never stop installing sleepers in the enemy capital. It actually looks to me like our other hack might fail. It's like the trace is almost done. It's annoying that that's even a possibility simply because of the fact that the game wouldn't let us place an accelerator on Mira. Also, I feel like we've hacked Mira without getting traced back at all a huge number of times. It's weird that all of a sudden it's an issue. The one time that we couldn't place the accelerator, all of a sudden it's an issue. Alright, we're generating probably a ton of influence output against these guys too. We should check on that. Okay, I am set to complete a quest in 4 turns. That's cool. I don't know what quest it is. It's one of those competitive quests, you know, have the thing that is producing the most X in 10 turns out of all the players. I don't know exactly which one, and it sort of doesn't matter.
We pay tribute.
Okay, science agreements are totally fine. I mean, they are extra science. They're a pretty small amount of extra science, but they're something. We don't actually even have the technology to propose them, which is why I have not been aggressively proposing them with everybody. Buy that out. We have the resources for a tier 3 system upgrade, but at this point I'm not sure it's not worth putting the time into. Yeah, I don't think so. Alright, let's have a quick look at diplomatic pressure against the Vaulters. So you can see +8 from systems covered by influence, -6.3 from current diplomatic status. We're still pushing on them pretty hard. Same deal over here. So we're going to be able to make some more demands soon to be able to get some more economic tribute, which I do enjoy quite a bit, especially from these like more science-focused factions. They're just coughing up 1,500 or 2,000. You know, just a couple thousand points of science here or there. Nothing huge, not a big deal. Alright, same deal with you guys. Yeah, they don't have anything interesting. I guess we infiltrate their scanners. And then we rehaculate them. Even more haculation. Oh, they did strip our backdoor. They figured out something, man. They caught us. I think we probably just want to take the big influence output boost over an industry boost at this point. Not that we desperately need influence or anything. Plus 1.5k with our best possible government is a pretty good place to be at. And it feels nice to be able to use it instead of just having it stockpile worthlessly, as we saw with the other factions. And I tell you, I feel like in general I don't have these huge stockpiles of influence. It's just been a weird series of games. Partially a weird series of games played with factions that generate a lot of influence, I guess. So this is the thing we want to buy out next, I believe. Should be able to get that next turn, and then turn that system to the raw production of science.
You'll feel content anytime we think of you.
Okay.
And
It's nice to know that somebody thinks I'd make a good dog. You have no idea how many times a day I hear, "No, SB, bad dog." And I mean, you know, I am paying for it, so I guess what do I expect? I delivered that joke in a flat enough tone of voice that I'm worried people will think I'm serious. I am not telling you... No, let's just move on. I'm just saying, if I was paying for it, you guys definitely would not know about it. Okay, the Alliance of the Black Cabal has reached the first tier of economy victory warning, which means that they are nowhere near it, right? They just hit half, I think. Does one of these increase science output? This one sort of increases science output. Kinda, sorta. At least it would if I lost a bunch of influence. Or, a bunch of approval. Hey, speaking of influence, look at all this free influence. Yeah, we're in that sprint phase now. This is a thing that happens in, like, every 4X. I don't really know if there's a way to avoid it, and I don't really even know if it's a thing that's worth avoiding. Oh, I was gonna buy this. Okay, still got it done before the turn actually ended. Where you get close enough to a goal that nothing else matters. The value per time graphs all tilt over sharply toward just do the one thing that will win you the game and ignore everything else. But you still have to deal with all of the notifications and all of the other game systems. Be a little tedious. So here, after we get the punctuated evolution, we're probably going straight into research as well, because we're, like, very close now. No, we're probably going into an F-Reality Institute. Also, the colonization of this planet. That would be a good idea, now that we've finally got that technology. Make sure you own the trade company producing the most dust in the galaxy. Really? That's madness. Okay, people get warned about us. My most productive trade company is not even producing 500 dust per turn. It may actually be the case that nobody else has trade companies. You saw a little bit last game that even when given the opportunity to research even when given the technology, like straight up given the trade company technology, the AI doesn't always use it. So it's possible that they just didn't bother. Okay, let's produce 3 technologies here. Probably it makes a lot of sense to grab like Citadel extensions, even though we don't have Citadels, just because that's a behemoth tech. Yeah, those are fine. None of this other stuff's gonna matter. Food output certainly doesn't do very much for us anymore. So 5 turns, and then we are researching the final 2 technologies. Titan of Industry is a fantastic skill. What a huge amount of completely free industry. Oh, except he's not in the Senate anymore, because the Industrialist Party got booted. Well, that's unfortunate. Yeah, I forgot about that part of us losing the party, losing control of the party structure. That actually really sucks. So we're probably not going to be able to buy even a single turn off of even a single one of these technologies. Maybe. Realistically, that's the thing that it makes the most sense to use our influence on. We want Gistrad to finish stuff, but if we can buy ourselves a turn, we should buy ourselves a turn. So I guess let's hold off and see if that's possible. Geniocrat versus Expedition Management. What is the system buildup of Nusicon? Nusicon is not really very cold. So we'll just take this. This is totally fine. That is an acceptable trade-out for a single skill point. And then, I don't know, you can grab a whole lot of extra industry. That seems fine. We're at the point in the game where that seems just barely fine. Not as impressive as it would once have been. Okay, yeah, the industrialists are not getting the Senate back. There's a bunch of military political will here because we just researched a ton of expensive military techs. I'm hoping they won't actually end up in the Senate, because we have like absolutely no use for those laws. Then again, if they overtook the ecologists, it wouldn't be so bad. We're actually making pretty good use, though, of our scientist/ecologist/pacifist government, and I would like to maintain it. Sure, we'll just infiltrate the scanners again. I mean, it's not going to matter. We probably don't even really need to reauthorize these hacks. But it's just like free stuff, right? It's free irrelevant stuff, but I still like it. Still like to have stuff.
Your action.
Okay, I don't care about that. So stuff's getting traced, people are being born, research is getting finished, you know. You know, space stuff. Just the space stuff that we're always doing. So Citadel Extensions is going to get pretty close to finished this turn, I believe. We can probably buy the end of it off. I don't know how much that's actually going to matter. It may not, honestly. If we put 8,000 influence into our into a technology, it honestly might not even actually accelerate us by a whole turn. Because it, you know, we're just buying off like a tiny bit of science at the end of the tech. And it looks like things didn't break down the way we would have needed them to. So next turn, nano aquaculture is going to be like half finished, so we're definitely not going to be able to buy that out either. And then we can't spend influence on the other two techs, so all of the influence goes into buildings. There's no point in holding on to it for any other purpose. This is not a very large amount of science, so probably we just do that, just put that in there. Sorry, you guys are not specialized. May as well buy those out too. And then we can definitely do a terraform here. Yeah, okay. That'll probably be the next thing we put science into. Or influence, rather. Actually, we could probably buy that out right now with dust. We have a ton of resources. Let's liquidate. We have so much stuff, and we're not going to need any of it at all ever again, I think. Wow. Prices really crashed on the deciduous trees. Gee, I wonder who's responsible for that one. Alright, no sense in holding on to anything. Man, for the quantities we're seeing here, these resources are really not selling for, like, anything. Sold those quadronics, or those orichalcics for, like, 4 dust each, I think, roughly? It's pretty bad. Oh, we do need to do that. So 119 blue cap. And then from there, we can just buy out buildings. There's a non-zero chance that the game will end in the next 10 turns. We might not actually even see the end of that booster. Scales. 30 more science from scales. Listen, every little bit. It all matters. Yeah, we could just buy this out. That's a thing worth doing. And then we have 32k science, or 42k dust, which has got to be enough to finish something meaningful. Honestly, maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Like, there are some buildings we could have built if we held on to, some of those resources, but honestly, I don't know. Like, again, we're close enough to the end, and we're dealing with large enough numbers now, that it's possible that even buying out all of the relevant buildings wouldn't change our victory timer by a single turn. And in terms of, like, spending our human minutes here on this Earth, probably it's not worth stressing about. Let's just go and do the thing. Alright, so we now have all of the quadrants finished. We've unlocked the ability to build the wonders, which sends all the other players the first notification. It does not matter very much. Then we hack this, which does not matter very much. Look at that. 10 turns to hack instead of the 7 we're used to. They are actively deploying defenses. Well, we'll use a, oops, piggyback. That's not the one I want. Overload. Overload's what I want. We'll put an overload on there. Maybe that'll actually cancel something. Pretty much just a spite play. We don't actually care. Alright, the 2 endless techs we have left, Might of the Endless doesn't do anything at all for us, so that one can be at the end of the queue. And Power of the Endless totally is good, and that one will go in front. Says 10 turns right now. It's probably pretty accurate.
As wonderful as
they granted me 17,000 dust. That's the first time we've seen the AI actually use that stuff in any way. So it's not actually going to be 10 turns. I think it's going to be slightly more than that, actually, because finishing Power of the Endless will push up the cost of the other tech, but it will also increase our total science output. I don't know. It's probably... We'll just try to keep the same government. Try to force the ecologists in front of the militarists if we can. Yeah, they're... Ooh. System that had no votes for them there. They're hanging. It's... Yeah, we're fine. Actually, the militarists might have beat the pacifists. No, everything's fine. All we unlocked was a plus food bill that we don't care about. So yeah, Power of the Endless is going to raise the cost of the other tech when it finishes, but it's also going to give us more science. I don't know. It might end up being 9 or 10 turns. And then we can just periodically purchase a building in a place that makes sense. We see that... boy. Where is even... I guess we're never going to get any orichalcics, so this doesn't matter. Yeah, it's pretty much just when we get enough quadronics, we can buy battlefield archaeology in places. It is worth checking in. Yep, okay. Where we can make these things happen, we do. Wow, what happened to his science output? I wonder if he's losing systems on the other side of his empire or something. You have quadronics? Yeah, give me all your quadronics. That's what I want. I'm not going to even bother with the distributed processing. Okay, let's make that demand, and then we're not quite able to make a demand on Evgenia yet. We're only plus 6.3 per turn, so it's gonna be a minute. But that's one of the few ways that we have left to really boost our science output. We could try buying like a ton of blue cap mold from the market and trying to make a level 4 system booster out of it to put on one system, but that would honestly be pretty hard to do. Like, we're talking about using a tier 1 resource in the level 4 system development. We're talking about a lot of resource, and there wasn't enough on the market to even probably do that twice. So, pretty small gain for kind of a lot of clicking and effort. What we should be looking for, though, is a place that doesn't have the plus 10% science building. Like here. Okay, 10k, so we'll buy that out next turn. And then, honestly, I suppose it makes some sense to declare war on a distant, like the Cravers or something. Just because those buildings produce extra science when we're at war. And the Cravers are nowhere near us and couldn't fight us even if they could get to us, because they're currently losing a war. Going to war with the Sophons would probably not be a good idea, and we're using the approval from being at peace with these guys, so we don't want to mess with anybody else. Okay, they're upset. They love that. Yeah, I mean, being friendlier with the Sophons probably has its advantages, I guess. If there were more players here, we would definitely go to war with more players. It's not... I'm concerned that if we went to war with the Sophons, they have enough ships to make that really awkward for me. And I just don't want to have to deal with it. I don't want to have to actually play any defense. I don't want to spend any time or effort on that sort of thing. So 36,000 science output, almost 37. It's certainly not the highest we've ever seen, but it's respectable. It'll get the job done. Then you could see we were already expecting only 4 turns on the second tech instead of 5, so the science boost from going to war... no, I would not like a treaty. The science boost from going to war did take a whole turn off of our victory timer. We gotta remember to actually buy this. Yeah, battlefield archaeology actually is a pretty big boost from aggression. Does Orm have one of those yet? No, Orm needs the next one. Okay. That thing has come to an end. Just go ahead and install another thing on Rigashi. Oh, they're already chasing off the sleepers, which means this is even less valuable. This one's probably not even going to finish before the end of the game. Get some more influence. Make it just like a little tiny bit faster to buy out the building on Orm. And here comes our final power boost of the campaign. Let's see exactly how much we gain from that. So with the boost from going to war, plus the boost from that attack, we actually only got up to 38,000. That's a much smaller increase than I was expecting. So we're still looking at 4 turns. At this point, we're not beatable. It is almost certainly not the case that anybody could get ships over here to mess with us enough for it to matter in the time that remains. But honestly, maybe declaring war would take a turn off, declaring war on 2 more empires. I think if we declare war on them, we will lose the economic tribute. But the plus science gain's gotta be greater. Yeah, it's gotta be a net positive. We're talking about 4 turns until we win. And all of the Sophon ships that we can see are flying in the wrong direction in free space where they can't even turn around. God, what a terrifying concept that would be. To try to turn a ship in open space, like, you just have to be certain, oh, right, I can't declare war on them because they accepted the demand. Can I? Okay, but I can cheat it by declaring war on you guys instead. So let's see what the net effect of that is. 38,123 science per turn. Okay, we actually do keep the tribute coming in. That's nice. And that boosted us to 40k. It was not enough to take a turn off the tech. That's a shame. Ah, well. Like I said, I expect to see literally no consequences from this. Even if the Riftborn and the Sophons together decided to send all of their ships to us, none of them would get to a place where they can do any damage within 4 turns. Oh hey, I leveled a hero up to 15. Neat. Build 3 science improvements to get even more dust. Also, apparently, we have a lot of incoming messages.
We Oregons are all...
Your present.
It's just a lot of people saying that they love me.
We know not what game you play.
These guys want a truce, but I don't care. I don't want a truce badly enough to even click the accept button. So how's everybody doing? We're pretty much just going to be hitting end turn here, which is a little unfortunate because now the limiting factor in how quickly the game comes to an end is the AI players ending their turns. We got this. I'm just gonna create a backdoor. Oh, Mira is no longer a capital system because the Vaulters have overtaken it. And then, sure, we'll get the hack running over there just so that we don't have to click through the notification, hey, you don't have a hack running. They've built a core cracker. At least one of these ships has the ability to destroy a planet. Maybe it's a good thing that we never went to war with the Vaulters. It seems like they might have had it under control. God, look at the systems that the Sophons were able to get a hold of early. They have so much population. I mean, we're not doing terribly on population either. Yeah, our 3 core systems really did end up pretty huge. 37 pop is just a wonderful thing to find. A system that can hold that much is a wonderful thing to find as early as we found it. My bet is that we're not even close to the threshold of science output we would have had to take another turn off of the victory timer. This is the big downside of the science victory, is that with a science victory, maybe even more than with some of the other victory types, it is very clear and obvious that you have won the game, like, way before you actually win it. And unfortunately, there's no way to tell the computer, hey, I won, and get them to concede. You could just stop playing. You could go, okay, I got it, I'm done here. But not if you're broadcasting your game on YouTube. Okay, so let's view our victory cinematic, which sadly will probably not make any mention of our incredible scientific prowess. I guess it would be a lot of work to produce a victory condition specific cinematic for each civilization, especially given the number of factions the game has ended up with. I don't know, maybe...
All our enemies have fallen before us. Heretics, dissidents, empires, even the old gods. We stand at the cusp of a great future, an eternal empire, led by an eternal emperor.
Who really needs to get a new those pants look terrible, my man. Eternally terrible pants. Once again, the score, pretty bad indicator of who's doing well in the game. I don't even know where the Cravers were. Apparently, their score was pretty high, but I feel like we've been getting messages from them since like turn 100, constantly worrying about losing the war that they're in. I don't know. It seems like outside of our borders, the whole galaxy had kind of gone to hell, right? It was just gunfire and planets on fire everywhere. All right, well, that was a successful game. That was a pretty straightforward one, and I think that is going to be it for Endless Space 2 for now. There's other stuff coming out, stuff I want to get on the channel, so this is not, almost certainly, this is not the last time we will play this. We will come back again sometime in the future. Hopefully you all enjoyed this. Hopefully this sold some copies of this game. I really think the Endless games are just phenomenal examples of the 4X genre. Space 2 and Legend both. And hopefully people are into these things and enjoying them and playing them online with other humans, because the AI is a little shaky. But that's going to be it for us for today. Thank you all so much for watching, and come back next time on Monday for more new stuff. We'll see you then.